So what we're going to be doing today is going to be doing our phone comparison versus where we're going to be showing you the differences between these two phones. One of the main differences is, of course, the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 runs on the Jelly Bean Android OS software, in this case 4.1.1. On the HTC 8X, it's, of course, running on the latest Windows 8 version that's out. And in essence, it's a whole different OS, of course. And there's some major minor differences between these, and depending upon how you look at them and which OS is your favorite to take and ride on. Let's talk about the differences of the design of them first. So let's get into that. There's the Note 2 stands at 5.94 in height, 3.17 in width, and 0.37 inches in thickness. On the Windows 8 X, it stands 5.21 in height, 2.61 in width, and 0.40 inches in thickness. On the weight, it's 6.34 for the Galaxy Note 2, and for the 8X, it's 4.59 ounces. The display size on the Galaxy Note is quite huge, 5.55 inches, 720 by 1280 pixels, 265 ppi, which is really good. Super AMOLED screen, 16.7 colors with capacitive multi-touch screen. With the display on the 8X, you're looking at 4.3 inches, 720 by 1280 pixels, 342 ppi. So it definitely has a lot more ppi than the Note 2. It's an SLCD2 screen, 16.7 million colors, and a capacitive multi-touch screen. Looking at the battery talk time is 15 hours on the Note 2, 10.4 days on standby time for 3G, excuse me. Standby time for 4G is 12.5 days with a capacity battery of 3,100 milliamp hours. Talk time for the 8X is 11.3 hours. Standby time is 12.1 days, and the capacity is 1,800 milliamps. So a little bit of a difference there in between each of these different designs. The hardware chip that's in the Note 2 is a Samsung Exynos, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, forgive me if I'm wrong, 4 quad-core, 1600 megahertz ARM Cortex-A9. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of storage. A micro SD card is expandable up to 64 gigabytes in the memory, so you can do that. So, with the 8X, you're looking at Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus, dual-core 1.5 gigahertz crowd. It's got a 1 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of built-in storage. The camera on the Note 2 is an 8 megapixel on the back, 1.9 on the front, with a 1080p 30 frames per second, of course, out the back for video. And on the 8X, we're looking at 8 out the back, 2 megapixels out the front, and 30 frames per second, 1080p video calling out the back, of course, which is always important. So you can see here that they both have really brilliant screens that are really sharp and stick out at you. Of course, one is much larger than the other. Many people like the Samsung Galaxy Note. You have the ability to customize a lot of the device. It has a lot of different settings you can go into to customize the device. It has a great app store with apps that are now rivaling Apple's largest store. You can see there's all sorts of different menus, quick edits that you can take and do with the device. And many people like that customizable feature. Not far behind it is the HTC 8X when it comes to apps and their app store. Windows is slowly, of course, building their app store and getting people interested in the in developing for them. Certainly with the Windows 8 product line, they're seeing that more developers are interested in the newest and latest and greatest, and of course with the launch of Windows 8, their sort of tablet surface thing that they're expanding into. So the Windows product is a great product, especially if you really like the Windows OS mobile line. You can see you have live tiles on here, of course, that spin, change, photos that rotate, and everything else. You can click over to go to a list of all of your different applications that you feature there. There's many of the popular applications are on the Windows environment. Some are, some aren't. And it integrates much like any other phone. It has search, of course, that you can take and go into to search for stuff, which is integrated with Bing. You can see here it's got huge screens when you utilize the device. Some people really like that, and I kind of do too. It might be, I don't know, maybe I'm getting old and I really like big screens. That, or maybe I'm just tired of peering into really small screens, and we're moving into an age, of course, where these devices are used more for TV and video, and I don't want to watch those in really small screens. So you can choose which one's best for you. We'll go through some more details here. Now, with the Samsung at the top, we have a speaker for making calls. We have a front-facing camera. You can probably pick up some of the sensors at the top there that are there. There's a home button, per se, with a capacitive multi-touch screen for the menu and back button keys. So what's really cool is you can even control how long those light up so that you can save yourself some battery life and all that good stuff. With the HTC, we're looking at a front-facing camera right here. We've got your speaker for making calls. We've got your home button, your back button, and your search button. Both are well-designed products. We like both. They both fit well in the hand. The Galaxy Samsung Note 2, I should say, has been designed much the same way the S3 was, with the nice curved back that fits very ergonomically in your hand. The HTC 8X feels very comfortable in your hand. It's thin, light, and easy to work with, but it still has that beautiful big screen that you can take advantage of. Let's flip both these devices over though, so we can take a look at both of them. Now, with these, on the back, you can see that we have the camera eye, we have your lamp flash, we have a small speaker that's here. There's a much bigger one that rides behind the plastic coating that pops off. We'll show you here in a second. With the HTC, we're looking at the camera eye, we're looking at the lamp flash. It does have Beats audio, and it's got a speaker down here in the little grid there. Now, the Beats audio is a great sound enhancement. I really like the Beats audio. It comes with most all the HTC phones. In fact, I think all of them, if I understand correctly. And in doing so, it gives you basically enhancement and equalization of your music as soon as you plug an earphone plug into the earphone jack. I really like the music. You can turn it off if you like. If you do own Beats audio devices such as beat boxes or headphones, they work really well with them. Now, one element about the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is it has a stylus, and by pulling the stylus out, you can activate the stylus feature on it. You'll see we even have a thing popping up where we can take and draw on it. Many people, of course, like this feature, especially artists and stuff like that, or people that still like to handwrite stuff. It even has a little kind of mouse push thing that will activate and do different things as you utilize the stylus. Now, it also has a pull-off back. We'll go ahead and yank that off for you. And of course, the pull-off back is for inserting your micro SD card, your SIM card, and also being able to pull out your battery if you so choose. You can also see here the speaker behind the wall of the back casing is much bigger, and so definitely will give you a great sound. So we have that. Now on the 8X, we don't have a removable back. It's all pretty much a one-piece body in the design that they've taken and done there. So so you have that where it's all one piece and there's no real expandable memory to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the right side of the device. On the right side of the device, we've got a power button that's there. On the top, we have your small microphone hole and an earphone jack. On the left-hand side, we've got your volume rocker button up and down. On the bottom, we've got a charging port, sync port, small microphone hole. Looks like we have the case not quite locked into position. There we go. And then, of course, we have your stylus holder that's on the bottom here. And taking a look at the HTC, down the right side, we have your volume rocker button. We also have a camera shutter button that's right here. So we have that. It does have really smooth lines. It's very thin, feels comfortable in the hand. One of my beefs that I've had with the 8X is the power button is very thin, very small, and I tend to press against it, and a lot of times with my big fingers I'm pressing against the body. Wasn't really excited about that, but it's a good feature. It works. Maybe it's best that it's built that way so it's not turning itself on and off if it bumps in your purse or bag or whatever you're carrying it in. You've got your microphone here, your earphone jack. Down the left side there's pretty much nothing, and on the bottom we have your microphone hole and a sync charge port. It has a very nice feel to it. Both devices have a great hand feel to them in the hand, especially the Note 2. Originally with the Note 1, it was pretty boxy in its experience. With the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, they rounded off the back of it, much like they did with the Samsung Galaxy S3, and definitely it's made a difference in how it holds in the hand. Let's take a look at the camera work on both these devices. Okay, so let's take a look at the Android camera that's on the Note 2. It's got a very powerful, awesome camera on it. It's great. It really rock and rolls. I think the only thing that rivals it is the iPhone 5 and the 4S. So you can see here you've got several different menu items where you've got your front-facing camera switch, you've got your flash switch, and of course this would change to a lamp if you're in video mode. You've got different shooting modes you can take and do. One of the cool things is the burst shot that comes with the device, where you can shoot off a whole mess of shots and everything else. You've got effects that you can take and preload onto the screen to be able to see what's going on. You can edit the shortcuts, of course, that are over here. Do burst shots, self-portrait, different effects, exposure values. You've got total control. Different scene modes that you might have that you can take and do here. Portrait, landscape, sports, indoor, sunset, dawn. They have quite a bit with the Samsungs. Timers, the resolution, white balance, ISO, metering, all sorts of different stuff, as you can see here, that you can take and do. They probably have one of the most extensive lists of different settings and tweaks you can take and do of any Android phone that's out there. And of course, once you switch to video mode, you've got much the same. You can set limits for MMS. Now, the one thing that's really cool about this about this one is it will do slow motion and fast motion, which is really, really cool. Basically, it will film in fast motion or slow motion, and what's nice is you don't have to have an app to take and slow it down like you would with other devices. So that's really fun and interesting, and of course you've got different effects you can take and put in here along the way. So we'll show you some of this. Now, the one great thing about the device is it shoots very well in night functions. It's got an excellent lamp and an excellent flash. This is a completely dark room. The flash was able to light up the room and also be able to secure a in-focus shot. Here is another shot where it's completely dark, I'm not even kidding you, and you can see how well it lit up this whole hallway and how well it shot down the corridor. It's got a great flash to it. Here's us using the lamp and the video mode, and of course the flash is a lot more powerful, as you can see within the colors. So there's that there, but you can see it does shoot pretty far down the hallway, so that's good. Let's take a look at some video here that we took and did. Now this is the fast motion video. That's kind of funny to watch. You can see the dogs moving really fast. I believe this might be a slow motion video where the dogs are going to be moving really slow, and I'm slowly back away. There you go. You can see the slow motion. It's pretty darn cool. I like it. It's pretty fun. So we had fun doing that with my dogs. You can see here it takes really good pictures. These are outside in the daylight pictures. And you can see how well the blues, greens, everything comes out and pops really well. We've got the sun setting, etc., etc. We're even going to, I think, come up here tight. You can see the lines in really good detail, even in close-up shots that come through. You can see the pictures, some of the pictures we had here. There's a sunset, so we're not going to get much of a good picture setting there because of the blast of the sun going down. But you can see here the colors come out just wonderful on the device. Now, this is pretty interesting. We got close up to some wood grain to see how well it picked up wood grain on the close-up. Many of these cameras, you need to have macro lenses, but they're getting better at shooting almost in a macro phase. And this is almost within, I think, an inch or half an inch of the wood. And it's shooting really well. So you can see that here with this device, or with this the Note 2, but it shot really good with the wood grain. We were really surprised at how well it did what it did. Anyway, love the camera. It rock and rolls. It's a great complement to a great device. Okay, so now camera-wise, it has a pretty good camera on it with the HTC. The Carl Zeiss stuff, I guess they make great cameras somewhere in the world, but
I've not really been impressed or even know why anyone's using them for these Nokia and HTC cameras for Windows. I've really been unimpressed by them. Okay, so the camera that's on the HTC is it's pretty good. It does a good job. It does a good job with video in well-lit situations. It does a good job with photos in well-lit situations. In the dark with flash, not as impressed with it. And same thing with video. In fact, I'm kind of disappointed on the video in dark environments. But hey, you mostly shoot in well-lit environments, so that's what's important. So let's take a look at some of the menus here. We've got a button, of course, that will take us to the portfolio area. You almost kind of have to really hit and miss, learn the hard way with some of these buttons. But for the most part, you can switch between your camera and your camcorder eye here. You've got different things you can put in. You've got your flash. You've got your front and back camera. You've got some menu items, I believe, right here. I've really struggled with the to just master the basics on this camera. If you press the wrong button, you go into completely different areas, and it's taken me a while to really get it down. It's just not very intuitive, and that's important in products. So you can switch between photo and video. One of the problems is if you push the wrong button, it will take a picture, it will activate the video. You also have your camera button push here. Obviously, if you're buying one of these, you're probably not buying it for the camera, but it will do a good camera job. It's a good little phone, but definitely, if camera's important to you, you may want to look at a higher quality camera phone. So you can kind of see basics of what you can do. You can adjust everything, of course. Here's some dark video that we're really not impressed with. This is shot in the blackness of a room, and it really had problems. We had to take a couple times just to get it to focus. The problem is you press the screen to try and get a focus, like you can with other cameras, it just stops the video, which is really irritating. It really had a hard time. You can see here we've got a well-lit, of course, outside photo shot that we've taken and doing with video, and it comes out pretty good for the colors. Comes out pretty good, not too bad. Dealt pretty well with the sun blasting into it, so it did okay. I mean, I'd say it's a good camera, an okay, good cameras, somewhere in there. So let's take a look at some other things that we have. Here's some shots outside. Good shots. Okay, nothing spectacular to write home to mom about, but definitely the shots are clean. They look good. They're well shot. It's definitely an 8-megapixel camera, so you've got that, and you're going to get good shots. Are you going to get great shots that maybe you might be used to with some more expensive cameras? No, but then you have to spend a whole lot more money. You can just see some of the shots that we took here. Now, this one shot was completely in the dark shot, where we totally in a dark environment, and the flash had to find itself. Not real impressed at how much it picked up in the image or the quality of the color. But like I said, it's a good little phone. I just probably wouldn't buy it for the camera.
Okay, so all in all, we like both phones. They definitely each have their own strengths and power, and of course with the OS you have to decide which one works best for you. You can go to amzn.to and see the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and see all the other products, of course, that we reviewed on their website. You can also go to t-mobile.com, that's t-mobile.com, and see all the wonderful phones that we reviewed there on T-Mobile, and check out the HTC 8X, see if you want to add it to your lineup there. It's a great phone. Both phones are great phones, I should say. So be sure to subscribe to the ChrisVossShow.com and our YouTube channel so that you can take and get the updates as we make them for all the really cool stuff that we take and do and all the phones that we get sent to review. Thanks for coming by the ChrisVossShow.com. Be sure to check back often.